AMD, through an official live virtual event by Dr. Lisa Su, finally announced the Zen 3 architecture that will land on November 5th of this year. Now, suppose you're a big PC gamer. In that case, you must be familiar with Ryzen's microprocessor for desktop, mobile, and other gaming platforms. We all knew AMD would announce the Ryzen 5000, but what we didn't realize was that this was not just going to compete with Intel, but transform the entire gaming industry. So today we are going to look at the new Gen Z AMD Ryzen 5000, the features and specifications. Development and growth. Okay, let's recap a little bit and go way back. AMD officially announced a new set of processors tagged Ryzen on December 3rd, 2016 at a Horizon Summit. Fast forward to February 2017, AMD introduced its first microprocessors, Ryzen 1000. Ryzen 1000 featured up to 8 cores and 16 threads. It was finally launched later in March. Come April 2018, AMD released the Ryzen 2000 series, which was the second generation of Ryzen processors. It wasn't quite what we expected. It had a slight increase in performance compared to the Ryzen 1000. Still, it did feature the Zen Plus microarchitecture and development on a 12mm process technology. July 7, 2019, the third generation of Ryzen processors, the Ryzen 3000. It featured notable design improvements and was based on AMD's Zen 2 architecture. AMD later announced a new Ryzen 3900 series with XT processors on June 16, 2020 with 4% higher boost clocks. During the same year, the Ryzen 4000 APUs were released. Now that we have successfully capped off AMD's new processors, Ryzen from 2016, let's look at the revolutionary AMD Ryzen 5000. What we know. The Ryzen is the next lineup of desktop processors. CEO Lisa Su revealed in a virtual launch that the AMD Ryzen 5000 is for high-performing PCs and the world's first Zen 3 CPU. Talk about revolutionary. So okay, here's what we do know. There are 4 new Ryzen 5000 series models for desktop PC. Yeah, we'll get back to that one later. AMD also revealed that the new Zen 3 microarchitecture uses an improved NM manufacturing process to map out new powerful CPUs based on the latest version of AMD's most prospering architecture to date. The Ryzen 5000 CPU cores have the codename Vermeer and are expected to power up next-gen processors' entire lineup. AMD Zen 3 Ryzen 5000 series specifications. CEO Lisa Su announced on October 8th the launch of the Zen 3 Ryzen 5000 series, which will officially be launched on November 5th. The launch features 4 different specs of the Ryzen 5000. AMD Ryzen 9 5950X, 16-core, 32-thread, 4.9 GHz boost, 72 MB LTL3 cache, 105W TDP. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900X, 12-core, 24-thread, 4.8 GHz boost, 70 MB L2L3 cache, 105W TDP. The AMD Ryzen 7 5800X, 8-core, 16-thread, 4.7 GHz boost, 36 MB cache, 105W TDP, and the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X, 6-core, 12-thread, 4.6 GHz boost, 35 MB cache, 65W TDP. Compared to the 3900 XT, the 5900X offers higher clock speed, Zen 3 core improvements, and according to AMD, based on the CPU performance of the 5900X, the 5900X offers up to 26% generational uplift in gaming performance. According to the company, gamers can expect to average a rising performance improvement of 26% at 1080p, which takes the lead from Intel. The 5900X is also paired with a 19% boost to IPC. AMD also claims the 5900X beats the Intel Core i9 10900K with more significant margins in gaming. Overall, the 5900X features a high-end processor that comes in 12 cores, 24 threads, and a 4.8 GHz boost to be retailed for $549 on November 5th. Impressively, the Zen 3 AMD Ryzen 5900X is the first desktop processor to break 600 points in the single-thread performance. We could witness AMD usurp Intel from its reigning position and dominate in the desktop PC market, just like the Athlon 64 days. To be honest, it already looks like Intel lost. The AMD Ryzen 9 5950X, we believe, according to AMD, has the most multi-core performance of any gaming processor and any desktop processor in mainstream CPU socket, and the highest single-thread performance of any desktop gaming processor. The AMD Ryzen 5950X has a grand 16-core, 32-thread, 3.4 base, and a frequency boost of 4.9 GHz at 105 watts. The 5950X is regarded as the ultimate and best desktop processor in a PC. The best gaming performance meets the best processor for content creation. Now, there's a noticeable upgrade between the 3950X to the 5950X, with a 29% increase in gaming performance. CEO Lisa Su reported that the 5950X is one processor that delivers the best power efficiency, our highest clock speed, the highest core performance in the industry, and the highest multi-core performance of any gaming processor. And oh, did I also mention that the 5950X compared to the previous 3950X shows a 20% performance gain in tested games? These claims indicate that the 5950X is the ultimate gaming processor ever, which kinda leaves Intel in the mud. Yikes! You can acquire the 5959X for a purchase price of $799. Furthermore, AMD ensured to make available different specs to suit every single gaming enthusiast. In the 5800X, we find an 8-core 16-thread processor with a boost frequency of up to 4.7 GHz at 105 watts, sold at a retail price of $449. Below the stack, we also have the Ryzen 5 5600X that features a 6-core, 12-thread CPU with up to 4.6 GHz frequency at 65 watts, which will be sold for $299. Concerns. The early price listing is of great value to us. The global sales on November 5th mean that we will be able to test the new Ryzen 5000 microprocessors ourselves. There is no doubt that the AMD Ryzen looks excellent on paper and could be tremendously powerful. Still, we can't always be 100% sure about everything. Don't blame me, blame the system. So here are a few concerns. A significant problem for a few people is that AMD has a product that costs slightly higher than the Intels for the first time in a long time. Now, we're talking about the 5900X that is priced at $549 compared to Intel's Intel Core i9 10900K priced at $529. Now, this is probably a scary move, but we think it's justified based on the jaw-dropping and tech-impressive features. Well, I guess we'll see how that pans out. Another concern that is kind of a disappointment is still the inability to cross over to the magical 5 GHz. According to the company, the ultimate and mainstream processor, 5950X, still hangs in the balance of a boost frequency of 4.9 GHz, but fair play to AMD for recording the least gaming speed of 4.6 GHz, the Ryzen 5 5600X. So currently, gamers can expect to see a 20% to 50% increase in performance in the Ryzen 9 5900X compared to the Ryzen 3900 XT. With crazy numbers like this, we can expect AMD to overthrow Intel by a vast 20%. Finally, let's go back a bit. All the way back to, probably 15 months ago, the 3950X gave a reason for everybody to upgrade due to the higher and midstream desktop environment. Right now, you probably have to upgrade again. Of course, you can swap out the CPU and be able to keep the majority of your setup, but that still leaves some issues with AMD reporting that there might be some issue with support for some motherboards, and that you might have side grade to a potential B450 or upgrade to a B550 or an X570. Therefore, you can't be entirely sure if your motherboard will support the new AMD Ryzen 5000 series. Fact list. Ryzen 9, 7, and 5 models. Available globally from November 5th. 1080p gaming performance leadership. A greater boot frequency with a peak of 4.9 GHz on the 5950X. Higher pricing compared to Intel. 19% instruction per cycle. IPC improvement delivered by Zen 3 microarchitecture. AMD Zen 3 powered CPU Ryzen 5000 processors are improved microprocessors for high-performing PCs. It represents the future of gaming and content creation. And as for Intel, well, we hope you can come up with CPUs that people want to buy. Leave a comment telling us what amazes you the most about the Ryzen 5000. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon, maybe.